You can always learn from your competitors because nobody is the very best at every single thing. And this video is for those e-commerce merchants who are looking to gain an edge over their competition. And more specifically, it is for those who don't just want to take part, but want to actually take over. My name, Samuel Larsen, founder of CRO Gurus, where we help 6 and 7 figure stores maximize their potential through conversion rate and average order value optimization. This is what I do all day, every day. You can get in touch from the description below. But now, buckle up. We're going to get very practical and let's ensure that your competitors don't know anything you don't know. And if they do, we're gonna fix that in this video. And here we are with the screen share. The very first platform that we're going to cover is called SocialPlate. This is a platform to understand and be able to compare your social analytics with your customers or competitors' analytics. So how do customers compare with your competitors when it comes to things like engagements with your social media accounts? Now, what I've done here is I've already created an account. I've never really needed the premium version, although the premium version is also quite an affordable one. And I've loaded an example Shopify store into the platform so you can get an idea of how this is. As you can see, it is ad revenue that it's running on, so that's why the free version is this good. And I'll cover some examples of the kinds of things that you might want to look out for when it comes to SocialPlate. So first of all, you have the badges. So the more serious the brand, the more badges there are. If you have, say, a few hundred media uploads, that can be difficult to just see from, say, the Instagram account. So these can be useful to understand that. You can also gain engagement, such as what's the ratio of average comments to the followers, and get an idea of the brand's popularity through these means. Additionally, you have an idea of how the follower count is developing. Say, if they have a growing brand, this is usually going up. If they're struggling a little bit, might go up slower. So here you have an idea of how that typically is trending. So it seems like in October, they are typically going down. And this might be something that is related to seasonality, or more likely they are pushing heavy on Black Friday. So that might be something to be aware of. And maybe they are doing it right. Maybe there is something to learn, or maybe it's a negative example. But now next Black Friday, you can pay a specific attention to that and understand also the kind of penalty they are paying with their customers. Additionally, the engagement levels here can help you get a second sense of what kind of content people really hate. If they have a lot of unfollows on certain days, maybe they are pushing their marketing a lot. So this is SocialPlate, a very handy little tool to understand how you're doing versus your competitors. And you can open these in 2 different tabs, you versus the competitor, or do multiple searches. It's very good for that. Next, we have the second of our 5 ideas, and this is Shopify's own benchmarks. So Shopify collects data and compares that to not only the millions of stores that it has, but the specific stores that have similar characteristics to you according to Shopify. So this is Shopify's data based on cohort of stores that are what Shopify says similar to yours. So this is defined by order volume, primary market, product categories, etc. And it's based on the last 30 days. So if your store has changed a lot, then it may not be accurate, but most stores are relatively stable over time. So here, for example, we can see how the sales volume for this sales volume category has evolved for this store over time compared to others. So we started with less volume compared to the target group or the comparison group and ended up with a lot more volume than them. So essentially this means that this store with us has outperformed the market and outperformed the market quite significantly. So that was SocialPlate, our very first idea. Next, we have Shopify's own benchmarks. So here you can find this from the left-hand dashboard when you log into Shopify. Under analytics, you have reports, and there you have some reports that have benchmarks. So we'll cover that soon, but you'll just go over a longer data period usually, and then compare that to the benchmark from the drop-down menu here. I recommend the monthly option and last 365 days, because this way you can really compare your performance over time. Now, important thing with benchmarks is that these are cohorts that are defined by Shopify by looking at your order volume, primary market, product categories, etc. And this is past 30 days. So if there are similar stores, then benchmark data is shown by Shopify. And it will show you three different numbers here. So you have the 25th percentile, you have the median, and then you have the 75th. If you are on this 63,000, you are better than 75% of the stores. And I specifically like benchmarking for understanding performance compared to the market. So if you are above this line, say the 75 percentile, you're doing really well. Here's the orders over time, and they have a bunch of different metrics. Here's the average order value, and you can also compare this over time. So for example, if you're in, say, fashion and you think your business is highly seasonal, then you can get a little bit of a better idea of how others are doing from this kind of benchmarking. Now, one thing to be aware of is every store is unique. So you might have stores, for example, that have a lower conversion rate because they have a higher average order value. And those kinds of things will, of course, play together. So you need to be able to use this data and read into it. Otherwise, you are just optimizing for mediocrity. And here, the idea is that we're okay with the lower conversion rate because the average order value is so good. And also, you wouldn't want to just optimize for one metric, because that would, for example, mean that you would shut down your blog, because blog traffic typically doesn't convert so high, but it's still free traffic for these guys. So that's my word of caution. The main thing is that you're selling well, and that you are profitable with your store. The other metrics are not irrelevant, of course, but they can often be noise as well. Now, the available benchmarks are related to overall store performance. So you have your conversions, your traffic, your order value, retention, the total numbers in terms of orders and sales. You also have a couple of delivery details here. So that's something that the back office can start to look at as one of their KPIs to compare. I like this tool has also an inspirational challenge, because once you see how your peers are doing, you want to outperform them and do better. So it's a good challenge to undertake. Now, final couple of notes before you go ahead and try this. So they are calculated based on order volume, primary market country, and the categories of products sold over the past 30 days. So these are the numbers. And here, one important thing as well is that the group of stores that you are compared against is refreshed every month. So this is not going to be the same. And that way you can't necessarily look at that as the same exact group if you are making big changes. One thing that's very important is that you understand also that if you've sold only one product in the last 30 days, you are eligible for this as long as you have enough other similar stores to benchmark against. So if you have a very low data, then this may not be that helpful, because your numbers will be all over the place and there's not going to be any kind of statistical significance to those numbers. So that's benchmarking. Now, very quickly before we move on to the next one, if you haven't already liked the video, please do so. And if you are a store owner running a store at 6 or 7 figures, you can book a call with me from the description below to see if we could be a fit for your specific case to help you to the next level. Now, very quickly before I move on to the next idea, if you haven't already liked the video, please do so. It helps you optimize the YouTube algorithm so you get more educational videos for yourself. And if you are a store owner running a store on the 6 or 7 figure range, you're profitable and you want to get to the next level, check us out at growgurus.com, or you can book a call from the link below. And back to the video. Now on to our third tool. You might have browsed Instagram recently or Facebook. You've seen an ad, you've seen a brand, you think, okay, this looks interesting. Would like to see what else is out there. Now, here is Facebook's own tool. Many of you guys know this, so I'll keep this brief. When you go to a Facebook page, you will be able to see an about link here. Once you click that, you have page transparency. And once you click see all, you will have something called the ad library. So here, first thing that you can see is of course history of the account, but you also have an idea where they might have their people from. So here probably has a bit of a Chinese origin here with all the managers. But the part that I'm most curious of is the ad library, because here you will be able to see what kind of ads they have run to get ideas for your own ads, and you can also get a bit of an idea of what kind of ads are working for them, because typically people and companies repeat the working ad formats. So you might see some tests, but mostly it tends to be more of what works already. And for larger stores with a lot of products, they tend to also have a lot of ads, especially if they are doing it automatic. So what you can do is use the filters and select the type of ads that you're most interested in. Say if I wanted to view video ads and check the active ones. Now this is something that's a bit harder to create a lot of this, so you only have a couple of them. And from here you can watch them, get an idea, inspiration and perspective of how your beloved competitor is doing it. Now say that you have watched these ads, found a competitor that sells a very similar product as yours, and you're wondering how do they do it, what do they change, etc. And those are the last two ideas of the day. We're going to look into price monitoring first. So the idea number 4 for today. So you have an opportunity and ability to monitor the competitors' prices. Now, this is one of those paid software. However, as with everything here today, it has a free option. So here you would be able to monitor your competitors' best sellers, for example, with this one, and you'd be able to monitor a few different competitors as well. So it is fairly useful to have this monitoring in place, because the cost for you is just setting it up once and then letting it run until there's an alert. The idea with many of these monitoring softwares when it comes to price monitoring is that you can connect them to your backend, and there you can pull out your products, and that way it will be easier for the software to monitor those products from the competitor stores. There are many of these kinds of software out there. This is by no means the only one. One thing I like about this one is the free tier and the ability to monitor them over time. So you can get an idea of how the price is also fluctuating, changing, perhaps very important in technology or seasonal products with differing demands and supply, and can give you an idea when a competitor, for example, is undercutting you on price, especially useful for, say, merchants who have a lot of Google shopping. And that leads us to our 5th and final tool for today. Now, imagine if you could monitor your competitors' stores and get notified whenever something changes. That's what this last tool does. It's probably my favorite out of the bunch. Now, what this does is that you just simply enter a URL. It starts monitoring changes on it, and if you have a change, it will then notify you. So you can set it to have email alerts, for example, and that way you'll know when things are changing. Now, the way you set it up is of course just give it a URL, give it an email frequency, and then the kind of change you want to monitor. As long as you have those, you can set up your thresholds. One thing I like here is avoiding minimum and tiny, so that you get those really big ones, because it can be quite tedious to shift through a lot of those changes that are super small. This also reduces the errors. So if you have a high threshold, then you might get notified of the smallest things. And with Visualping on the free version, you can monitor a few pages per day and have it check it daily. Daily is fairly good already. So that's 150 checks per month. At Krogerus, for our clients, we use a similar tool. And this is also how Visualping works. So this gives you a good idea of how you can use it. And so here we see that the competitor here is testing a different type of upsell layout here on their store. So instead of being the full width one that pushes everything down, they have a slightly different page here. So you can see the original here on the right, and then this is their current version. So they have changed a couple of things up, also changed the colors here, etc. So this can give us an information advantage if we, for example, wanted to test the changes. Here's another example of how it looks like on another page. It looks like this screenshot wasn't captured quite perfectly, but they changed their collection layout completely and went for a more traditional collection page layout compared to the itemized and categorized layout that they had before here on the right-hand side. Now, in these cases, we might look into the source code, see, for example, if they are running an A/B testing software, understand if this is just a test or an implementation. And if it is a test, we will know if this test won or whether it was either a loser or an inconclusive, and they decided to stick with the original. So this is the last competitor analysis idea from this video. However, before you go, I have another one with the same topic. So 5 more tools to analyze your competition so that you can get an edge over them. These are 5 other tools, the ones that I did before. It's a very good video. I recommend you watch it next so that you can get a complete picture of what's available. If you like this video, make sure to like the video, and you can subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Cheers.